Hello and welcome to another Starman Just Watched. I'm Devin. With me is not Billy, it's Curtis.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It has been a while. So Billy is off on vacation, so Curtis has to step in.
Indeed.
And Curtis, you're a Nicolas Cage fan.
Yeah.
And I liked Children of the Corn.
Mm-hmm.
So Mom and Dad came up, and I was like, this should suit both our needs.
Yeah, exactly.
And boy howdy is this a movie.
It's a ride, let's say.
Yeah.
Let's preface this with it's a ride.
Yeah, it's more of a ride than like an actual plot-by-plot movie.
Yeah, you wouldn't say that the plot is the reason to watch this is just as much as what the hell's happening on screen.
The premise alone is
the premise.
enough.
Yeah, the premise is all you really need.
Yeah.
And the movie delivers on the premise, let's say.
Doubles down on premise, there's no plot.
Yeah, exactly.
But, unfortunately, we still have to do the simple plot.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's pretty simple, right? So, the whole thing is, so we've got a family, just a, family arguing amongst each other or whatever, they're not quite getting along. But then, shortly into the movie, something really weird starts to happen, where the parents seem to be very adamantly desiring to kill their children. And it's not quite explained as to what is causing this, but there's also this mysterious static that seems to be linked to these psychosis outbreaks.
Yes.
So whenever you witness this static, you seem to be overcome with an irresistible urge to slaughter your own. So at some point, I guess our parents both see this static and are otherwise triggered, and the rest of the movie involves them trying to hunt down and murder their children.
Pretty much. That is the... More than the simple plot, that's like the movie.
That's about the movie.
Yeah. If I had to simplify the simple plot, it's basically a weird broadcast forces parents to kill their children.
Yeah. Yeah. We think. The broadcast is never expanded on.
No, you'll never get an answer to why this happened.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not it's clearly shown in the context of this is where the bad stuff started happening, but it isn't explained what this static broadcast is or anything about it. So
no.
If you're looking for answers, you won't find them here.
No. This will leave you with more questions than answers, that's for sure.
Big time. Yeah.
And normally we go through the different acts, the plot by plot scenarios or scenes, but this isn't that type of movie we can really do that with.
Yeah, no.
Like, it's very much we start off pretty normal.
Yeah.
Something bad happens near the first act.
Yeah.
Third act is more of a just watch the carnage in the world.
Yes.
And then the final act is basically reverse Home Alone.
Yeah.
It went from just your standard everyday horror movie opening. Everyone's getting along, everyone's having fun. Like, there's issues, but...
Yeah.
Then it went to The Purge.
Mm-hmm.
Then it went... A Purge/zombie movie.
Yeah. It's very zombie-like, the behavior. Like,
yeah.
They are dead set on one goal to the exclusion of all else. Like when somebody would, if somebody were to confront them, they would treat them as they normally would.
Yes.
Except if they're their children. So
yeah. The only thing you want to murder is your kids, and you have no control over that.
Yeah. Yeah. It seems to be like there's like an on and off switch to this thing that only activates when you're confronted with your children or are thinking of them, apparently.
Yeah.
And anything else that your mind is occupied with immediately breaks the spell, so to speak.
Yes.
So, yeah.
And then the final act is like a home invasion movie.
Where the home invaders are the parents.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty much.
About that, it's like, it's a fine movie, but I'm pretty sure I wanted it to stick to one lane.
Yeah, so what are you thinking of in terms of lane to stick to?
Yeah. I'd rather if the kids were running around different locations.
That's kind of what I was expecting as well.
Yeah. being trapped in the house is like, okay, that's fine, but you offered us a whole world of carnage.
You kind of show the whole, like, Act 2 is like all about the effects and seeing the world, and then Act 3 gets very locked into the one location.
Yeah.
It would have been cool to, like, I liked how some of the scenes played out, but it would have been cool if they had chased them down, for sure.
Yeah.
Yes, because it was really fun just to see, like, the zombie outbreak style thing happening, and you don't get any more of that after Act 2, basically. No. Like, it's limited purely to the main characters at that point.
Yeah, and that's just... There's such potential there that I was like... I guess this is a lower budget film, from what I gathered from the information.
Yeah.
So I understand why you couldn't do, like, the grand scale, like, Purge, zombie apocalypse setting where there's carnage and chaos all throughout the streets.
You want it, the movie makes you want, like, it's such an interesting premise. The movie makes you want to see where it all ends up, right? Like, it makes you want to see, okay, so in a month, what does the world look like?
Yeah, in a month where we find out our parents will kill us.
Yeah, like...
what are the children doing now? How many survive and how?
Yeah, how many have survived? You know, is the end state that the old folks rule the world?
Yeah.
I mean, like, at some point, if you're the president and you want to kill your kid, you can just fucking nuke the country, right? So... Yeah.
But you don't want to kill anyone else. You just want to kill your kids. That's why.
But you're not opposed to killing anybody else necessarily, because we did see that the father, like, was willing to kill or, you know, otherwise push aside the boyfriend at one point.
Yeah.
So
but also he didn't like the boyfriend. So.
Yeah, there's that.
There's some anger there that he's taking out. But.
Yeah, it's hard to say whether you would be willing to nuke innocence for the sake of killing your kid. It never really got to, you know, see exactly the extent of your madness at that point.
No, that's the thing. It's like we never really got to see, like, the full effect of this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I would have loved if it was like, now we're doing, like, a zombie survival, but the parents are the zombies.
Yeah, it's what I was expecting. Like,
kinda, yeah.
Because that's what it leads to when this first happens, right? Because that's when they're at the school, and the first sign that things have gone really wacky is that all the parents are at the school gates trying to get in, and the police are trying to keep them out.
Yeah.
And that was like zombie movie to the nth degree or whatever, and we kind of thought it was going to continue with that track, I guess, and then switch to a different focus at some point. So, yeah.
So things we like about the movie, then.
Yeah, well, I'd be lying if I said it wasn't entertaining. It was a
ride. Like we said, it's a good ride.
Yeah.
You're sitting down to enjoy the scenes by scene.
Yeah, it is worth watching just to see the chaos and the premise and the great unhinged acting from Nick Cage.
Yeah, Nick Cage was the best dad you could possibly get for this.
He's at his Nick Cageiest in this movie. It's
absolutely insane.
Goddamn nut job. Midlife crisis, like, it kind of mixed up in all this scenario.
Yeah.
Equals very chaos, and just a ton of mad energy around Nick Cage. So definitely fun to watch all that. Yeah, like the acting was quite solid for the most part, I think. You know, kids are kids, right? Like you can get a decent performance from them, you're typically happy. So, like, I wouldn't say they knocked it in the park, but they did a good job, right?
No, I believe the kids were kids in this. Like, and that's hard to do when you have kid actors.
Yep.
They'll try to oversell a scene or they undersell it or something. It's just...
Yeah. It felt a bit undersold to me at some points, but it also felt authentic to me at others. So
the teenage daughter was underselling it to me.
There was a lack of urgency sometimes in the actions that felt kind of weird, and it feels odd that they got into that situation to begin with. Like, I feel like she had to go home for the kid brother, but it's still, I don't know.
No, like, I was like, oh, that's nice, sweet older sister, but she's a teenage girl she's not going to really think about her brother that hard in this scenario.
Yeah, I mean, it goes to show, hey, like, she kind of acts like a brat, but deep down she cares about the family. I get that, so. But yeah, it just a bit weird how it played out, but yeah, like, it was, the traps that they ended up placing, like, for the parents, and the way that, that they managed to wiggle out of the situation sometimes was definitely enjoyable to watch.
Yeah. I love that it's like kind of a Looney Tunes-esque way of dealing with it.
Yeah, like you said, very Home Alone Looney Tunes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Like, you pretty much covered everything I liked about the movie.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Things we didn't like.
So yeah, I guess it'd just be like the overall like kind of directionless tone of it, right? Like just
there's no resolution to anything.
Yeah, it's like we've said several times, like it's a ride more than a plot. So if you're looking for that, you're not going to find it.
Yeah.
And I don't think either of us were crazy about the flashbacks for the most part.
No, they did these little flashbacks in between like hunting down scenes where they showed like how the parents bonded with their children, and I was like, I don't think that's really necessary right now.
Yeah, well, like the whole idea, right, is that this mind virus is seemingly beyond any previous experiences. Like, no matter how close you were with your children or not, you're still gonna want to kill them. So like the point of like showing, oh, they were so happy once, is just like, okay, well, it doesn't really matter, does it?
No, like. I would like that if it like played into like a hesitation.
Yeah. Like I was
I have my son dead to rights. I got him up against the wall with the hammer, and then he has that flashback, and then he has that moment where he just lets go, and the son gets away.
But there was no chill. Like it was all like as soon as it kicked in, there was no moment of lucidity or like hesitation. It was all like murder.
Yeah.
The only purpose I can think of for the flashbacks is that they give you a bit more, fleshed out time with the characters before they went fucking nuts, I guess. But it just felt unnecessary. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that was very jarring for us was the ending.
Yeah. The ending I kind of love.
Yeah.
But also, it's just like, of course, it makes no sense.
Yeah, it ends at the most inopportune feeling time. It feels like...
Oh, you mean the absolute ending, the final scene?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought we were talking about when Grandma and Grandpa showed.
Oh, sure.
I love that.
I love that, yeah. Yeah, speaking of things we loved, it was a really good idea because they foreshadowed at the start of the movie that the grandparents are
coming over.
So, you forget about all that as the movie goes on, and then...
When they get the doorbell, I was like, oh yeah, right, the Grandma and Grandpa are coming. So, shit, wait!
Yeah, so then it becomes... A chaotic movie becomes even more chaotic as...
Because you got 3 parties involved.
Yeah, the grandparents are trying to kill the parents who are trying to kill the kids.
Yeah.
But the grandparents don't want to kill the kids.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it becomes
it's an interesting triangle.
It is. It's frankly pretty awesome. That part was just great.
I would have loved that to be fleshed out a bit more, have a little longer scene on that.
Yeah, it was a good twist.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the movie like kind of feels like it's building up a little bit more again after that's all resolved.
Yeah, like I thought this got a second wind on that scene. I was like, here we go. We got some fresh skills. We got some new, we got new players in the game.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like Dad's a war vet.
Yeah, Vietnam vet.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, and then so they do the grandparents end up getting killed, and then the parents are ready to jump right back into murder mode.
Yeah.
And the boyfriend's still alive and clonks them out. So then they get tied up to a pole in the basement or whatever, I guess.
And we have the parent talk from the children. It's like, we want to trust you, but you make it very hard. I was like, oh man, every time my dad said that.
Yeah, the parents getting the parent talk is right.
And then just the Nicolas Cage is like, we love you, but sometimes we just, and then it cuts right there.
Yeah, we just want to... end credits.
Yeah.
It felt like we were like actually building up to a climax there, where something was going to happen to reveal what was going on or whatever.
Yeah.
Or something was going to happen.
Or even a resolution.
Yeah, like any kind of resolution. There's no resolution in the movie. It's just like, oh, it's over. Like it is like the line that they cut on is funny. Like just like sometimes we just want to end scene.
Yeah.
Like, I kind of respect that moxie in a way, but man, it just like completely like blindsides you when the ending credits pop up.
Yep.
So yeah.
No other way to put it. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah. So hopefully we conveyed that this really was an entertaining movie, and despite our plentiful gripes, I still think it was worth watching. Yeah. Because it was,
I don't regret watching this, but
it's
going to be a hard sell for me. Nah, it won't. I can watch this again.
Yeah, like now it might be even easier to rewatch, frankly, just because like it's just like a turn your brain off and enjoy the wacky stuff happening, and don't
focus on the plot.
Don't worry about any kind of plot or foreshadowing. The static is a fun little thing, but yeah, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's a Nicolas Cage movie. You're trying to get logic out of a Nicolas Cage movie. Why are you watching a Nicolas Cage movie?
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. Just enjoy the nonsense.
Yeah. I put this up there with like Willy's Wonderland in terms of like my favorite Nicolas Cage's movies, where you don't have to think. Just enjoy how it plays out.
Exactly.
Who cares?
Yeah. And any kind of character nuance they build up is whatever. Just who cares? Yeah. that movie had the same problem where it like cut to it tried to make you care about the people who were going to get killed a little bit before the movie got kicked off in earnest, and it became like, just who gives a shit?
Yeah, no, I was like,
this means nothing. I care nothing about these guys.
No.
Yeah.
It just feels more like, get to the freaking killing.
Yeah.
I don't need to know about these people. You're gonna kill them anyway.
Yeah, their interpersonal relationships mean nothing in the face of what is to come. Yeah. So, yeah.
But with that, though, we'll call the episode here. So thank you all very much for watching.
Indeed.
Until next time, have a good one, guys.
So long.